Hello everybody, welcome to another Mindbug online video. Today we'll be watching a top 16 match from the Nations Cup 2024 played between Radule from Serbia and NinjaSegun from Russia. It was played with the Beyond Eternity set and the format was best of 3. So our opponent gets to play first and our hand is a Rhino Turtle, Tusked Extorter, Ferret Bomber, Hamster Lion and a Ferret Pacifier. We get to play second. Our hand has very aggressive creatures, a lot of frenzy creatures, and we would like to be on the play, but sadly we are not. Our opponent plays a Sharky Crab Dog Mamipus, which is a very good card to play turn 1, because usually your opponent does not want to Mindbug it and spend his Mindbug turn 1. So we will let it resolve. Fortunately, we have a good answer, which is a Tusk Extorter. Its power trumps Sharky Crab's power, and it has a nice ability that when it attacks, it forces your opponent to discard one card. Our opponent plays Axolotl Healer, which is a great defensive card. It can block our Extorter, and also our opponent gains 2 life. So now the question is, do we want to be aggressive and attack? Our opponent is at 5 life, and we would probably be at 2 life next turn if our opponent chooses to block with the healer and attack with Sharky Crab Dog. So our hand is pretty aggressive, so we decide to take the risk and attack. Our opponent now chooses which card they will discard from their hand. They do a little thinking and they discard a Kangasaurus Rex and block with the healer. And on their turn they attack with the Sharky Crab Dog. So we are at 2 life, our opponent is at 5 life. They have a creature in play. We play a Hamster Lion, which is another aggressive card. Our opponent let it resolve and plays a Tiger Squirrel. So the Tiger Squirrel is very problematic for us if we don't take it. Our Hamster Lion dies, and in our hand we don't have a good answer for the sneaky creature. And if we take it, our opponent would have a frenzy sneaky Sharky Crab Dog, and Tiger Squirrel's effect would be wasted because our opponent does not have a creature with power 7 or more creature in play. So we're in a very tough spot. I presume we will have to think a little longer here, but in the end, since our life total is already at 2 health points, we will be forced to Mindbug this creature. So we use the Mindbug. Sharky Crab still cannot attack because it's the only creature on our opponent's side. Our opponent plays the Plated Scorpion, which is another good defensive creature. Here we think for a bit, but this creature is sometimes worth Mindbugging, but not at this moment, because it would leave us with no Mindbugs until the end of the game. So we draw a Luchator turn 2 and a Compass Dragon turn 3. We're thinking about casting I mean playing the Compass Dragon. So we are checking our opponent's graveyard. If it were to be mind-bugged, to check what our opponent can bring back from the graveyard, from the discard pile. In the end, we play Rhino Turtle. Which is a good offensive creature, but currently it is trumped by the Plated Scorpion and it will just trade with it, so... But then again, if we get rid of the Scorpion, we can attack with our Hamster Lion. So that is our plan. Our opponent thinks for a bit and plays an Explosive Toad. So Explosive Toad is a very good creature in this World's 2023 set. So we decide to take it as it can deal with any creature on our opponent's side. It's very often it's a 2-for-1. So our opponent has only 4 cards in their hand, but we are out of Mindbugs. So we choose to play aggressive, and we will see if it will pay off. Our opponent attacks with a Sharky Crab, we block with a Tiger Squirrel. So we don't get hit down to 1 life, and also we get rid from the sneaky ability on Sharky Crab because we do not have any sneaky creatures on our side of the board anymore. So here we have some options. We also drew a Kangasaurus Rex, which can be good for us, but also it can backfire if we play creatures with power 4 or more, and we already have 3 of that creatures, 3 creatures in our hand. We choose to play Ferret Pacifier here, presumably to block any further threat from our opponent, so that we can continue to attack their life total and hopefully bring them to 0 life. This card is at this state of the game, this card is a semi-bluff, so we hope that our opponent would Mindbug this creature so we could wipe it out with Kangasaurus Rex, but our opponent lets it resolve. So they have 2 creatures in play, but keep in mind that the Plated Scorpion on their side cannot attack because we have the Hamster Lion, which has the ability that the enemy creature with the lowest power cannot attack. So our position is still unclear. We are always in danger to losing to a sneaky creature or something like that, because we do not have a good answer and our opponent plays a Grave Robber and replays a sneaky creature, the Tiger Squirrel, from our discard pile and kills our Hamster Lion. So now we're in a tough spot. Currently we cannot block the sneaky creature. We drew Happy Hamster, Hungry Hamster. We're thinking about our next play and decide to play a Kangasaurus Rex, so it would deal with a Tiger Squirrel and 1 life from Plated Scorpion, but our opponent decides to Mindbug this creature, which is a good play. They do not think we have any more answers to the sneaky creature, and they're right. We have 2 sneaky creatures, but they're power 2, and our opponent's sneaky creature is power 3. So we're in a very tough spot right now. The only way that we can deal with a Tiger Squirrel is to let our Explosive Toad be defeated, so we could defeat a Tiger Squirrel when it dies. But in this position, when the opponent has 5 creatures and you have only 2 creatures, you do not wish to be attacking, but we are forced to, unfortunately. And our opponent can just decide not to block because they're at 5 life, and they easily win this race. So we tried to force them to block, but they correctly decided not to. So the only thing we can do right now is try to play our sneaky creatures, hope our opponent would make a mistake and Mindbug them. We are in a very tough spot, so it's not easy to play right now. We are already dead, but we are just going through the motions right now. So we are trying to find a line in which we can possibly survive, but it's very tough. We are down to 1 life, and our opponent's creatures trump all of our creatures. So we play a Hungry Hamster, which forces our opponent to give us a card from their hand, which we can play immediately. So our opponent lets it resolve, presumably giving us a useless card, which is a Bee-Bear, which doesn't do anything on the board right now. So our opponent just needs to continue attacking us with their sneaky creature. We block and lose our Hungry Hamster. The only play we have is to die, I guess. We can still try to attack and prolong this game or play our own creatures, but it's not looking very good for us right now. So the thing here is you should never surrender, even when you know that you will lose the game, because your opponent does not know the rest of the cards in your hand, and so you should never surrender. Our opponent takes our Ferret Bomber, forcing us to discard 2 cards using their last Mindbug. So we play a Compass Dragon and return Hungry Hamster from our graveyard, from our discard pile, and our opponent chooses to give us a Goralion. So still we are not able to do anything because our opponent has So our opponent attacks once more with their Sharky Crab Dog. We have to block with our Hamster. We are basically dead. We attack with the Explosive Toad, hoping our opponent would block, and I don't know. Basically we're dead here. We're just going through the motions. We can kill one of our opponent's sneaky creatures, but they have another, so we just lose the game on the spot. So that was game 1. And we hope we will do a better showing for game 2. So we are down 1-0. If we lose this game, we lose the match. If we win this game, we play a third game for the match. We start a second game. We are second to play. Our hand is a Count Draculich, Tusk Extorter, the Lurker, Grave Robber, and Goblin Werewolf. This hand is not bad, but also not great. Our opponent's first play is Elephantopus, which is a good card, but we have some cards to defend ourselves with, so we can do the same play we did game 1, and it is play Tusk Extorter and just attack with it, be offensive. So there will be some elephant on elephant action this game. Our opponent does the same thing they did game 1, so they play Axolotl Healer. So it's basically almost the same board state as game 1. We think a bit, but maybe it's good to take Axolotl Healer here, and we do that. And the reason why we take it now is because our hand contains the Lurker, which activates when you have more creatures than your opponent, so it gains a sneaky ability. Also, we have a Count Draculich, which is good when you have more life than your opponent, because it kills the creature in exchange for one life. Our opponent plays a Tiger Squirrel. We can try to be offensive here and just Mindbug it. Then we would be out of Mindbugs already on turn 3 of the game. But we would be in a very good spot, at least for now. So we think a bit and we decide. Still thinking? Our hand is very aggressive, so we decide to take this creature and go all in on aggression. Tiger Squirrel deals with 1 life from the Elephantopus, so now we have 3 creatures in play, and our opponent has 1 creature in play. They play a Sharky Crab Dog, which copies the abilities from the opponent's side of the board. So currently it's 5 power, poisonous, and sneak. So it's a good blocker for our own sneaky creature. The lurker also loses its value here because you cannot attack into the Sharky Crab Dog because it has a sneaky of its own. So we decide to play Count Draculich here. It's an easy answer for the Sharky Crab Dog. And we have 5 life to work with, so our opponent thinks here it would be smart for them to take this creature, to Mindbug it, so we can't use it on our side of the board. We'll see what they'll do. We also drew a Berserker the previous turn and a Plated Scorpion this turn. So yes, they decide to use the Mindbug and take the Count Draculich, so they can't use it as effectively because they're only at 3 life. But still, it was a good play from our opponent. So we decided to play a Plated Scorpion. In this instance, the Plated Scorpion serves the role not as a defender, but as an attacker. So we played it aggressively so we could attack with it the next turn, because if it trades with any of our opponent's creatures, it would be a good trade. And it would be a 2-for-1 because it has 2 lives and because it is tough and it's poisonous. So our opponent plays a Snail Hydra. Of course we cannot do anything because we are out of Mindbugs. So our opponent has free line of play. Snail Hydra is a good play here because now we are forced to attack. If we play a creature, the Snail Hydra gets to be active, and it's basically a 2-for-1 at least for our opponent. So we decide to attack with an Axolotl Healer. We attack with a healer here because it will trade with every creature from our opponent's side of the board. If we attacked with Plated Scorpion, it would not trade. It would just lose 1 life. Our opponent would lose a creature and they would have less creature than us, and the ability on the Snail Hydra would be active then. So they decide to block with the Elephantopus and trade. So they have 3 creatures, we have 3 creatures. The Snail Hydra is still not active on our opponent's side of the board. They have 5 cards in hand and a Mindbug, and we have 5 cards in the hand, 2 cards to draw and 0 Mindbugs. So they play a Grave Robber, returning Axolotl Healer from our discard pile, so they are up to 5 life now. But they are off their Snail Hydra plan because they have 5 creatures at the moment and we have 3. We play a Snail Hydra of our own, and our opponent lets it resolve. So currently we have an active Snail Hydra, but they have a Count Draculich and they have plenty of life to work with. So of course they attack with Draculich, lose 1 life, and decide to defeat a Snail Hydra. We just block with our 8 power creature, and the Draculich dies. So as things currently stand, we are not in such a good spot. Our opponent still has a Mindbug left. They are at healthy 4 life. We are out of Mindbugs, so the plan now is to force our opponent to use a Mindbug of their own on a creature that is not so impactful on the game state at this moment, because then we would be able to play anything we want without fear of it being Mindbugged. So we play the Grave Robber here. I dislike this play for myself because our opponent could Mindbug it and they would have 6 creatures in play, we would have only 3, and by doing this and playing a card from our opponent's discard pile, we are now at 5 creatures, our opponent is at 4 creatures, and they have an active Snail Hydra. So I don't think this play was very good from our side. Maybe it was a time pressure, we only have 40 seconds left on our clock. We are not feeling so good about this board state, so we maybe panicked and played the wrong creature, but that's how it goes. Sometimes our opponent attacks with the Snail Hydra and defeats our Count Draculich. We block with a Plated Scorpion, so as it stands, the game is still open. Of course, the side that has a Mindbug left is still the side with all the advantage in the game. Also, we are down to less than 1 minute on the clock and our opponent is at healthy 2 minutes 30 seconds on the clock. Sometimes the clock plays a big role because you do not have enough time to think about all the lines of play and you're forced to make a bad or not the best move at a time. So we think here we decide to be aggressive and play Rhino Turtle. So we have Berserker in our hand. When you are at 1 life, the Berserker is a creature that trumps all other creatures. It gets +8 power. Our opponent lets our Rhino Turtle resolve and play a Shark Dog of their own. So Shark Dog is very problematic for us because it can hunt our sneaky creature and also deal with any creature with power 6 or more on our side. So right now our opponent has 3 cards left in hand. We decide to be aggressive. Our Tusked Extorter will die anyway to the Shark Dog. So we take this opportunity to at least discard 1 card from our opponent's hand. Our opponent attacks with the Shark Dog, hunts our Tiger Squirrel and deals with 1 life from our Rhino Turtle. So right now we have a Lurker, a Goblin Werewolf in our hand, which are 2 cards that we draw in our starting hand. So it's not that good that we haven't played them at all the whole game. We decide to attack with the Rhino Turtle, be aggressive. Our opponent's only good block is with the Sharky Crab Dog. because it is poisonous and it will trade with the Rhino Turtle. So they do that, they block with the Sharky Crab Dog and think about what they will do. Right now they play a sneaky creature of their own, so now we are in trouble. We cannot really deal with the sneaky creature. Our opponent does not know that, but they still have one Mindbug left, so they can deal with any threat or answer to their sneaky creature that we play. But we don't even have that, so again we are pretty dead here. Still, our opponent does not know that. You need to you have to get the habit to play the game we play a shield bug here. Our opponent lets it resolve, and they should just attack with their sneaky creature, and presumably it will win them the game. So they are thinking about what to do. Currently, the Shark Dog can deal with the Goblin Werewolf in our hand, it can deal with the Berserker in our hand. With the Berserker a little bit less now that the Shield Bug is in play on our side of the board. So they think about playing the last card from their hand, which is still an unknown card, or just attacking with a Spider Owl. We cannot block it. So our opponent just attacks us down to 4 life. We do not have a good play here. We can play a Lurker. Hope our opponent lets it resolve, and so we can start attacking. It would be tough. The Lurker would be tough and sneaky with 5 power, so it has a chance of winning us the game, but I don't think our opponent would let us win the game like that. They showed a very good skill and the level of play. So we try to play our Lurker, hoping our opponent will not take it. Hoping our opponent would see it as a semi-bluff, and they actually let it resolve. Okay, so they play a hungry hamster of their own, and we are forced to give them a card from our hands. So whatever we give them is bad for us, because our Lurker will not be active. It would not be sneaky while attacking, and also they still have a Mindbug left, so we give them the Berserker. They will probably put it in play. We play our last card, which is a goblin werewolf. We're just waiting for them to use their Mindbug. They do it and we surrender. So we lose this match 2-0. Well done by our opponent. Congratulations to Russia for advancing further into the tournament, and thank you all for watching. Goodbye.